It's a 4010 Kawasaki Mule diesel with electric power steering. Really nice. Needs a little bit of work. It's got some booger welds right there, but that's for the bed raise and hydraulic bed dump and raise. So yeah, overall not too shabby. Tires aren't horrible. Engine does not run. Head was taken off at one point, but overall pretty clean. Not really any rust on it. 1,700 hours and
1,400 hours.
Is it 14? I thought it was 17. No, it's 17. 1770 on it.
1,400 miles maybe.
No, it's got more than 14. It's 14,916 miles.
14,000 miles.
Yeah. Still got the seatbelts though, unlike my other one. Rear seat was pretty good. Overall, it's pretty good little shape for what I got. Got some spare parts because the radiator's missing completely. Head was taken off. I think they said it had a cracked head, but I really think it's just bad head gasket. Because there's only like 4 reported, I think, cases that I've seen online that say bad head. So I didn't actually get to take a look at it because I just got the pen out of this. But this is the next project. Well, I hope you guys can see pretty good. I'm recording on my GoPro. This is the UTV I got. I'm actually going to shut the garage door on this side so that way it's not in the way. The glare is not crazy. Alright, that looks better on the little screen that I'm looking at. So, got it all home. Looks pretty good. Not too shabby. Noticing that hood assembly is missing a whole bunch of pieces. I ordered a assortment of bolts from, what do you want to call it? From eBay. So, it's like 20 bucks for, I think it's 10 pounds of bolts. So that's good. I got the parts and pieces in the bed. You can see what I've got. I'm going to lay that out on my workbench in a bit. I've got the screen, the intake. The hood is damaged in 2 spots, so that's going to have to get replaced. Exhaust manifold, the radiator, which I don't know if the radiator's just shot or what. Well, there looks to be some damage on the bottom end. And I'll lift up the bed here in a minute and get you set up to show you that. But I figured I'd just give it a little walk down real quick. Overall, not too shabby. Still had some park information from the Missouri State Park that I bought it from. As well as there's some more miscellaneous bolts in there. Battery. Looks like it's the factory Kawasaki battery. So this thing must have been parked a while ago. It's almost out of diesel fuel, which is good, because I'd rather put new fuel in. The front radiator is just straight up completely missing. The headlights are like coming out. Front diff looks pretty good. Power steering I think works. I haven't even, the battery was so dead, I don't even know what was going on. So I need to go get the key now that I have a charger on it. There you go. I got it charging at 40 amps, 12 volts. Let me pause for a second, get the bed up, and then I'll show you. We'll proceed on from there, but this is the project that we got. Should be a pretty good one. I think I'll actually want to keep this one. The other one I liked just was a gas, and it didn't have the power that I wanted, and the diesel's so much smoother. It is odd and very unique, but man, they run so much better. So we'll be back in a second. Well, okay, we got this. Charger's still charging. bed got lifted up. So, normally there's a little connector that goes and sits right here to here and allows you to hold the bed upwards. Well, someone welded on brackets down here, brackets to here, and put on a hydraulic cylinder. I don't know if this is factory, because this looks like a boat unit, like one that you find on a boat. So that's weird. But, I mean, it's a 12-volt hydraulic pump that theoretically lifts and lowers this bed pretty easily. And I don't expect to push it really that hard. So I don't ever plan to find the failure point. It's got the fuel filter over there. The head is missing its rocker arms and has been covered with a plastic bag for about, I don't know, my guess is 4 years, 3 to 4 years. So we'll see if it comes back to life. I want to take the head off because I need to get and verify that the head is not cracked. Because if it is cracked, then I'm going to have to take off the injectors, take everything else off, and find a replacement part for it. But on the bright side, I do think that I will be able to buy one and get it repaired. And if that's the issue, that tells me what the problem was. They just they did not remember who worked on what and what happened. All I know is it's not running. The head's off. I will say I have power because of the battery. The lift cylinder clicks. So I wonder if the power or if the motor's seized or something like that. We'll take it apart eventually and figure it out. But that is a good thing. We'll see if this battery comes back to life. And for right now, I think I'm going to put you in a stand and kind of take the head back off and have a peek on it on the bench. Ooh, that reminds me. Sorry, my ADD has kicked in and it's like, oh, I should go look at this. So here's all the parts I have. I have the radiator that was missing. It's got the temperature sensor and it's got the wiring harness for the fan, exhaust manifold, valve cover, gasket, fuel lines, clamp. This is the pin for the hydraulic cylinder. This is the water pump pulley. This goes, I believe, on the bottom of the crankshaft. No, this goes in here and bolts the fan and water pump together. It feels pretty good, but I just went ahead and ordered a new one with a new valve cover, with a new thermostat and everything, because I'm not questioning it. It's getting brand new. Got the glow plug wires and a couple random bolts, and then I have these bolts up here and in that other cup holder. So I think right now we'll just take the head off and I'll bring it to the bench, because I mean it's already pulled apart, all the intakes were removed and everything. So now I just need to get it off and look at it on the bench. Well, this is not what I wanted to find. Rust. We'll have to get some Scotch-Brite and sand off the carbon buildup. But I will say, I do not see cracks anywhere on this head. At the moment, I should say. Because it's not clean. It's dirty, and we're going to have to clean it. Oops, sorry, you should see everything. The question I'm going to have is this going to move? I see I got some cleaning to do in those little lifter buckets, but all the pistons are connected to the crankshaft, I think. I wonder how many of you guys are going to say this is a bad idea? let's do engine start. Starting on. Yep, it moves. But kick it back down to 4 amps. 40 amps. Come on, start. There we go. Yeah, it moves, but I really want to spin it backwards and kind of take a little Scotch-Brite, some of the green, or yeah, some light nose scratch, and go through these cylinders just a little bit to cleaning them up. But it does spin, so that's good. We'll just spend some time cleaning this up, and I don't think you guys need to watch me do this, because it's not that exciting to watch. But I'm going to spend some time here in a bit and go and clean this up and make it all pretty and get it ready for whenever the new head gasket comes in. So I already ordered a head gasket because I knew the head was, when I got here, when I first picked it up, took the pin out of the cylinder because I couldn't lift it up when I went to go visit this thing and look at it pre-buying. I could only see that the head was on there. I couldn't tell if there's a plastic bag covering it, so I couldn't tell too much on it. But basically, I couldn't lift the bed, couldn't tell if the head was actually bolted down or what. The radiator was in the other one that I was looking at. The water pump was off, and the valve cover was removed. So I did not know what was happening, didn't know what was going on. I assumed it's going to need either a head gasket or something, so I ordered one, and it should be here in the next couple of days. I realized the rocker arms are missing, and the lifters and the push rods are also missing. So I ordered those as well. I ordered also a bunch of miscellaneous bolts to go with it. I see now I'm also going to need a belt. I'm just thinking, so I need to get that ordered because the alternator doesn't have a belt on it, and I do not see one on the crankshaft. So we're going to have to figure that out. What else? I ordered, a bunch of bolts. I have coolant here. I really think I'll be able to put this back together with what I have and basically call it good at that point. Because I don't think there's anything else for me to do on this. Because, I mean, it should run. It should. Looks like good cylinders once you clean them up a little bit. Got power, charging the battery currently, decent tires, brakes work, I know, starter works. I really think that this thing's going to fire off here in a bit once I get parts in. So, with that being said, I'm going to bring you back and show you the progress of once I clean up the head and once I clean up the cylinders a little bit, because I want to get clean. I don't like letting it sit in this condition longer than it has to. So it's probably going to get a heavy coat of WD-40, a heavy coat of fogging oil just to help prevent any more surface rust from forming. I'm probably even going to drain the oil and change the filter, as well as find a new fuel filter, because I don't know how long that's been. Probably put new fuel in it and go from there, because it's looking pretty good. Like, yeah, I need to shut up before I jinx myself on this. But we'll be back once it's all cleaned up, and you guys don't have to watch me go and do crazy cleaning on this thing. So, be back later. Nothing better than having a dump bed that is hydraulic. It is slow, I will say that much, but it's better than doing it manually. We're just waiting for some parts, and then once the parts come in, we can bolt the head together, put the camshaft in, or rocker arms in, and send her. But it's nice having an electric dump. All because of that little marine pump. The little marine pump for trim. Works perfect. Does lift pretty good. I want to put a person in this and see if it lifts it, because I think it will. So, yeah, guys, kind of haven't showed you much, but I got a new battery for it, and I installed a little 12-volt charging port for it, so that way I can charge the battery on long distances. I also can cover it up to seal it. Let me plug it back in, because I don't like leaving batteries not on charge. The whole front end's kind of taken apart just because I'm cleaning, going through it. It was kind of gooky with all the crap in here. Like you can see, just still here. This all needs to be power washed, hence why it's not going back on yet. I've got all my parts just kind of scattered around. I got a new radiator ordered. That's going to come in shortly. I've got a whole bunch of parts. I've got the head cleaned up. I got the injectors blown through. The head actually turned out really nice. Let's go look at the cylinders, actually. So yeah, the cylinders turned out okay. They're still not great by all means, but it'll live. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to have plenty of power. It's not going to be down on power, and it's not going to be blowing smoke. But it does work good. I got the injection lines put on. Bled the system up to them by putting the head on and kind of just cranking it. Got a new fuel filter. I've got parts coming in. The hydraulic lift broke on me. The line that goes from the pump to the upwards lift apparently got snagged back here at some point on this bar and got broken. So I got a new one, or I got a new hose right here. That's the right fitting. I just need to go get a 90 for it to make it come out in the right direction, and then I need to find something to reduce it down in size to a 1/8 inch instead of a 1/4 inch. So yeah, working on that. And I do think that this is actually a trim pump motor from a marine application, which is kind of cool, but I don't know how useful it is. I did some calculations, and based on the size of this cylinder, the rod, and theoretical PSI pressure coming out of this thing, it should be able to push 2,000 pounds. So yeah, that should be plenty. So nothing else is really needed. Haven't really done much else to the bed or anything along those lines. I've just been doing little things, piddling around, cleaning things up, getting things freed, moving better. As you can see, I've still got parts on the floor. I did get a new air filter. The old one had mice living in it because that hose has been open for a couple of years. The intake system looks good. The belt system looks good. What else? Oh yeah, I bought a box of parts, spare parts. So I have a whole bunch of other like body hardware, bolts, 10 mils, shift linkages, things like that, and all these miscellaneous here. This was in it. What else? I think that's pretty much it for this little update. There's not much to it. I'm just waiting on parts. Supposedly, the head gasket and the rocker arms are going to show up tomorrow. I got bolts to bolt the rocker arms down. I got a new water pump that I think comes in today, so I can mount that. I still don't know what this really goes to, but I was going to kind of go through it and try to figure it out. What else? Oh, yeah. So, while I was at Buckeyes, which is a pretty nice little farm store, they had this on sale. So, I scored it, and now I thought I could just bolt it in because it said it came with a winch mounting plate, and this looks like it had a position for it. But then I looked closer, and I'm like, well, that's where the radiator mounts. Crap. Where should this go? Oh, well, there's an adapter plate for the Kawasaki Mules that takes it and moves it outwards. So, have to order that, but that's all right. I still got a good deal, I think, on this, on that winch and everything. And then this thing will have a winch. The only other things that it's missing right now is there's no windshield, there's no hood or roof to it. I would really like to get one, but that's a far down my bucket list. The next thing I actually need to purchase for this thing is a new hood, like for the front of the vehicle, due to the old one's hinges are just completely broken. It will go on there and it will sit, so it is going to be a minute before I go buy that, because I want to get this thing running and driving and having some fun with it. But I've cleaned it up. I've started replacing some of the screws in it. You can see I haven't power washed any of this stuff, but I've got it all going. This was missing like 7 or 8 screws, kind of like you can see up here. These are missing screws, but I've got that whole bag that I bought, or that whole box. So yeah, let's see, will this open up easily? Yeah, I need a power wash inside here. The battery's mounted in. I got my little wiring to it. I kind of was planning on updating the terminals on that to make it a little bit neater, because it's kind of just like a cluster of wires in there. I don't know if you guys can see well. So those are just all over the place, and I'm going to try to get that cleaner. The diesel fuel in here smells okay and looks okay. It is almost empty, so I'm going to add more just to dilute what's in there. But yeah, we've got some stuff going on, and well, now I've got plenty of work to be done once parts come in, of course, because that's the biggest thing. I have no parts. I'm waiting to put this back together once I get the pump going again, because that's what's holding me back. I'm meant to bring the old line to where I was going, but I forgot to get it, and I just had to make do with what I had. I didn't know the exact sizes. I just knew the length I needed to get. So we'll be back later today, hopefully with a new part to fix that pump. Yeah, looks like a pretty good little machine. I can't wait to have it running. My dad is loving his little 2-seater he's got, and I can't wait to have the diesel back. That's gonna be so nice. So, all right, well, that's gonna be it for this little update. I'm trying to do a little differently. I'm not trying to show all the mechanical aspects and all the tedious work that I'm doing behind the scenes to get this thing going, because I could be hours and hours of just me filming stuff. Plus, I do enjoy just being in the garage, having music playing, and kind of just going and cleaning and piddling, just making things nice. So, well, with that being said, I am going to call it for right now, and I will bring you guys back once I get more parts. I might show you putting the water pump on the head, because I think I'm going to try to do that before I get it in the engine. I don't really know for a fact. I'm going to kind of look at it and see. But right now, that's my thoughts. So we'll be back. I guess we'll be back when I bring you back. Well, we just got our parts in. I've got my rocker arm assembly. It's pretty free. It feels pretty good. 6 push rods. I'm not going to use the lifters because my lifters look in better condition, and I have them matched to the valve train on it. I've also got a brand new Kawasaki OEM head gasket. So I'm going to get you set up in stand, and we're going to go through putting the head gasket back on it, putting the head on, and then bolting it all up. Proceed from there, and hopefully today we can do a little test run and get it to fire up, because I have been dying to get this going. So we'll get you in the stand and bring you back here in a second. Okay, it's out of the way. I already have the lifters in place. Just making sure. Yeah, it won't go this way. Only goes one direction. Let's get the head. So you don't have to do it this way. Oh boy. You can take off I'm trying to set it down so I'm not hitting stuff. I gotta get it underneath the injection lines. And so this head have to get this lined up right. So there's a big problem. This is gonna have to come off because this fan assembly isn't wanting to let me set this down. So give me a second. I'll bring you right back. Okay. Take two, the impeller fan assembly. What did my dog do? I think he got scared or something. The impeller assembly was limiting me from, okay. Ideally, you don't want to let it sit on the dowel pins. Okay, I'm gonna take the head back out and we're gonna pull off the water pump. Mainly because it's not wanting to seat. Or, you know, I might try this. I might just put it back. Oh, it's like you have to take it out and put it back, and it works. So let's go get some head bolts and get those kind of going together. Yep. This poor little engine shield has seen better days. It has been used and abused and beat up, and really I don't even know what's gonna hold it on because it's missing pieces, so this might just come off. But let's get head bolts, put those in. Ready? Light coating of oil. And I'm trying to take the ones that have like the clean heads. Because I've already cleaned these off. The ones that have like decently clean heads, these were inside the engine. And the other ones that were rusty a little bit were outside. So just trying to separate and put them back where they kind of came from, because these are not tensed or stressed enough to need replacement. And I don't even think the factory service manual calls for it. Go in. You just want a light little coating. I've also got a nut driver that I'm just gonna screw them in, tighten them down a little bit. And then I'm gonna come back with a 3/8 inch torque wrench and torque them to, I think it's 27 foot-pounds. I'll verify in the manual before I go actually do anything. Right now we're not even hand tight, really. These are just trying to get in there, get them seated so that way they're not falling off. And it saves me a lot of ratcheting while on the torque wrench. I can't put the rocker arms back on until I get the head bolts tightened down and everything. So we'll have to wait a second. Probably could cut now and edit all this stuff out. But what fun would that be? This is just some lightweight, I think it's like a 0.16 oil. Just leftover whatever I had in motor oil. Get that rubber hose out of the way. Alright. Oh man, it's so nice to see this finally going back together. I've been piddling around this thing for the last week, essentially, just tinkering with tiny things on it. Cleaning it up, I mean, I haven't cleaned out in here, of course, but like cleaning up these cylinders, the engine head, the injection system, replacing the fuel filters, checking the belt, checking everything that you could think of, basically. Getting the radiator cooling system ready, changing the oil, which I have to still add oil to this, but I haven't done that yet. Thought I saw a speck of dust, or dirt, I should say. So we got some work to do. I'm gonna probably just put a funnel right here in one of these little ports and just let the oil run back down, fill it that way. I think it takes 3.3 liters because I think it says it on the valve cover, which I'm still missing valve cover nuts, so the top ones. But I went to Buckeyes, which is like a local farm store. I got the winch from, and I got some I think it's M12 by 125s or M8 by 125 nuts for this. I actually ordered the correct ones from Kawasaki, but I'm just waiting for those to come in, and for right now, oh, that's fine, and I really just want to see it start. That's what I really want. So if I can get it to start up easily, then we are golden. But for right now, it's just waiting for things to finish it up. So let me go get my torque wrench set up, figure out the torque spec for the head, and then the pattern. So typically the torque pattern is innermost and work your way out to the outside. So it would probably be like one of these four you start with, and then you just go circular and work your way outside of it. Yeah, that's how it usually is done. We'll see how this manual actually says it. I don't know it off of my heart, but right now we're gonna go get a torque wrench set up. All right, so it says to start with this bolt right here, and it says go to 25 foot-pounds. I'm not using an extension because I know it doesn't affect it, but I just don't like using them. Followed by, this is your next one. Followed by this one. As you can see, this one's already loosened up from what it was, all because you've tightened the head down a little bit. And it says jump over to this one. Go over here. And realistically, you could do any direction you wanted to, as long as you could start with any of the center ones, as long as you started in the center and worked your way out. it's not gonna hurt it. They say that, they do that torque pattern to get you to level the head and pull the head down in tightness evenly, which is never a bad thing to do, because it could very well be out of spec. And I'm gonna go back through, actually I should say, and double check the torque spec on all of them. Because the center ones, as I go further out, sorry, my torque wrench came unlocked. As I go further out, the middle ones might become waxed. So I usually do a 2-pass. And if these were any higher than 25 foot-pounds, I would go in 2 passes. But because this is 25 foot-pounds and this is very small head, we're gonna just go with 1. All right, start with this one. You'll notice it's already needed more. I do like to vary my pattern a little bit when I get to further out ones, so that way it's normal. So yeah, right now I'm gonna get my assembly lube and rocker arms, push rods I should say, and go get them put in their little holes in respective places, and then we can kind of get the injection lines hooked up. And get the glow plugs installed, and then see if it will fire. So these are used push rods. You don't want to usually do this because you want to know where these go and keep the orientation. But I did not have that luxury, and I didn't want to go new because new I was going to spend an extra 200 bucks. I didn't want to do that. So we're just going to hope and pray that there's no issues. And I know I am 100% certain there is a potential for issues, but it's worth the risk because I can take this off real fast, and you can pull the actual like lifters themselves out from here without having to worry about it. All of these what do you want to call it? Valve springs should have a little seat on them, which all of mine do. So we're gonna give them a nice little dab of assembly lube to help with first startup, because currently the thing hasn't ran in a while, and it's gonna need all the help it can get. Do not drop these down in the cylinders. So this can only go on one way, and that way is with the rocker arms. So what I'm gonna do, because I had an issue with this on my last one, I am going to reset the valve clearance after I've torqued these down with these new bolts. I'm doing this because on my last one, it was it was pulled up just a little bit. I think the stud stretched, causing some issues. So, I think it's a 12, but I'm not sure. Nope, they're a 13. Because the new bolts. So these I just looked up. They are 13 or 15 foot-pounds, which my torque wrench bottom end is 15 foot-pounds. So I'm gonna be very gentle with these. So now I can go get myself a flathead and a 10 mil and break those loose and put those into the buckets. So, be right back. And it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to take the assembly lube and put a little dab inside of each of these little buckets on these rocker arms, just to help out the friction, even though this doesn't usually get a whole lot. But I think they designed it so that way they have oil filling them. Don't want to drop that in the engine. And then we'll set the, we'll go look at the actual lash, what it needs to be set to, go set it, and then get it all taken care of. We're gonna do this. Real quick. I'm tired of fighting. This is once you get your hands all greasy, it becomes very hard to get things in line. Come on. Gosh dang it. Gosh dang it. There we go. Okay, just gotta get loosened more. These springs are pretty tight, otherwise I would be pushing the springs down. So like on that last four-seater I worked on, that gas engine, the valves on that were very light because it's a gas engine, and you could physically push the valves down to get the rocker arms to sit right. And I do plan on, after I get the new parts, new bolts in, swapping them over to the new ones, just because it is factory components, and it's gonna be a 12mm head instead of a 13, and it's just gonna be more professional. Because while it is annoying to have to take everything back apart, I do like having factory components inside my engine. Just makes it a wee bit more convenient. So I do know that the glow plugs has a bar, like a bus bar, that goes across. Oh, how many of you were praying that that didn't go in? Yeah, be careful with open orifices inside your engine. We're gonna just snug that up with your fingers. And let me go find the spec for the valve adjustment. And then I have to figure out which one's on top dead center right now, which will probably entail me just cranking over for a second. Yeah, we'll be back. All right, so I just spun the cranked the engine a second, and I have play on this one, no play on this one, little play on this. You can see this one's pushed down, which that tells me that this one is gonna be capable of being set. You just want a light drag. I need to go get a 10mm wrench. I'm missing my good one. Which one? This one is what I was on. So you don't want to do this when the engine's hot. Just want to do it when it's a good temperature. Room temperature would be great. And as you tighten it, the nut will typically back off a little bit. So right now, this one's pushed up. I can't tell which one's next, but let's crank it just a second. Okay, so we just adjusted this one. That one has no friction on it. So let's adjust it. Back it off just a little bit. Tighten that down, tighten that. We have just about 8 thousandths, which that is, so they recommend 20.020 millimeters, I think it is what it says, the manual, or roughly 0.0079 of an inch. And I've got a 0.08 here, so this is just a little bit gonna be on the tight side because I'm gonna play it on the tight side. So I know you're supposed to find top dead center and everything like that, but I'm typically, you could, as long as the valve is not up, you know it's not supposed to be in its stroke. And I can tell you that's pushed down, that one's got play. Which that one might be actually set pretty good right now. Too tight. Sometimes you have to adjust it, come back a sec, adjust it, spin it over a couple times, adjust it. So the last one would be that guy. Dang it, I put away my feeler gauge. Make sure it's the right one. Yep. And And I mean, if I got this wrong, I'm gonna know about it pretty quick because of the noise or the 0 run capability. You guys are gonna have a field day with me and my clumsiness. There you go. Alrighty. So, I'm gonna run it, crank it over for a second to get, see if I can get fuel up to these. These are all loose, hand loose. Once I get those, fuel up to those, I'm gonna go ahead and put the exhaust on, and then that way it's not as loud, and then we're gonna give it a spin. See if it'll start. Alright, I've got good fuel on all of those. I need to cinch the time real quick. If it looks rusty, it's not rusty. It's red off-road diesel, which is cool to have because I never buy it because I think the closest gas station that sells it for me is like 15 miles away. So we're gonna go ahead and put the exhaust on real quick and then maybe fire it up. So, be back in a second. All right, we have cranked it. It's got oil in it, fuel, glow plugs. It's glow plugging right now. I don't know what is causing the smoke. I think it's like vapors of the oil. I do see oil up top, but the oil pressure light didn't go off. Huh. I wonder if it'll need some ether, which, do I have any ether? Just a little whiff of it. Okay, this is flammable. It's not ether, but it's brake clean. Let's see. I don't know what's going on. Man, I wish one of you guys were here. I think the exhaust is blocked off. Or blocked up. Ugh, that's why it's coming. It can't exhaust anything. Alright, let's take this apart a little bit. I really think that it just can't exhaust any fumes. I should have left this undone. I also know that those rings could very well be seized up, stuck a little bit, because they have sat for years with oil infused or with water in the cylinder and stuff. So it very well could be that those just need to get some heat in them to break them up and some combustion. On the bright side, though, I did see the oil pressure gauge went away. Or the oil pressure dummy light went away. So it means it's working. We got oil pressure up to it. Okay. Exhaust is disconnected. We'll give it a little shot again. I refuse to accept failure, bad head. I refuse to accept that. Because I just don't believe it. I really don't want to believe it. Let me put it that way. Not that I can't, but I really don't want to. Because I don't want to spend $1,000 on a head. Ooh. We're going to give that starter a break. Because it's hot. I'm going to dig in and see if I can find anything else that might be causing me a problem with it not wanting to start. So, we'll be back in a bit. So, all right, let's see if this goes.
It's on.
It's on. Let me give it a little squirt of ether. Go for it.
Take a break. Don't breathe.
That poor starter. How hot is it? Oh, starter's mildly warm.
It was so freaking.
You heard it like chug, chug, chug.
Why won't it kick over?
It's because it's firing. It's one. So the rust has built up around those the three piston rings. There's one cylinder that's doing majority of the work. It seems like, and it's not enough compression to fight it. But this constant like moving is going to heat it up and hopefully catch it. Once it catches, then it should go boom.
And that'll clean the.
Because once you
the up and down.
the compression forces and the potential expansion of gases helps break the piston rings loose.
Right.
Which that's what have a feeling.
Do you think they're tight right now? The rings? Really?
Yeah.
Two of them are.
Two of them are at least tight, and not
So
creating
if
good
you
compression.
start it and it runs for 10 minutes.
It's not going to run for 10 minutes because there's no cooling in the system.
Oh.
No water in the system. It's got water in the block, but that's it. It's not no pump,
So
no
if it
nothing.
starts,
If it starts, because it's cast iron and it's a diesel,
let it
you're
shut
good
off.
for half a minute.
Okay, 30 seconds.
Yeah. So Alright, you ready?
It's on.
Crank it.
Here we go.
I got the throttle, by the way.
That was worse. Well, we're losing power. Battery power.
That starter is probably getting too hot. That's the problem. Crank it. That poor starter.
I give it a rest.
Yeah.
You don't want to ruin that.
Oh yeah, that starter's hot now.
Yeah, give it a rest.
Pay attention to that little black hose right there. And the exhaust down there. Majority of the smoke is coming from the exhaust. The little hose is blowing by. Not as much as it used to. So it's gotten better. But I'm still not getting any spark or any ignition, basically. My dad's going to get ether. And I'm hoping that I can get it going with that and run it on that. That'll tell me it's the injectors or something like that. So I'm hoping. I don't actually really know what I'm doing. We got some ether, some glow plug. It runs. Holy mackerel. I did not expect that. Just a little bit of ether. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Well, we are finished. We're pretty much all the way done. Got the engine put back together. It's missing the fan shroud. That's pretty much it. It's missing. It's got a new fuel filter, new oil change on it. Drive belt was good. Exhaust is good. Hydraulic cylinder is good with the pump. Got to tidy up the wiring, of course, here, but that's just putting a cover back on. Got everything nice and neat. I installed 2 new switches. Bed, up and down, and winch, in and out, which the winch box is there and it's wired to right here. 3,500 pound winch, not too shabby for this little guy. Next thing I have to do is I have to go purchase the actual hood for this that bolts up there and locks it, and maybe a new seat cover because it could use it, but starts and runs perfect.